I woke up choking on sunlight. It was too bright, too real. My hands were trembling, resting on a keyboard I hadn't seen in years. The beige cubicle walls, the humming fluorescent lights, a plastic coffee cup with the logo, World Trade Center, North Tower. I was on the 82nd floor, and the date was September 11th, 2001. I bolted up, my breath caught in my throat. This wasn't a dream. This was before the screams, the smoke, the silence. My name is Jack Sullivan. In 2025, I was a senior software engineer, living with the ghosts of this exact day. My mom worked here, my best friend too. I lost them both when I was 17, and now, somehow, I was here. I checked the time. 8 a.m., 46 minutes before the first plane hits. The room buzzed with small talk and keyboards. No one knew, but I did. I had 46 minutes to change something, or maybe to say goodbye the right way. If you woke up on the 82nd floor that morning, would you run or would you stay? I didn't think. I just moved. The elevator was too slow. I sprinted toward the stairwell, heart pounding like a drum inside my chest. On floor 82, everyone was still sipping coffee, reading emails, gossiping about Monday hangovers. I could hear their laughter echo off the glass windows, like the universe hadn't made up its mind to end yet. I burst back into the office floor and shouted, "We have to evacuate now! Everyone, listen to me!" 30 heads turned, some startled, some annoyed. A man in a blue shirt near the copier scoffed. "Who the hell are you?" I ignored him. "A plane is going to hit this building in less than an hour. If we don't get out..." Laughter. Nervous at first, then mean. "Is this a prank? Are you drunk?" A woman stood up. "Sir, I'm going to call security." I grabbed the nearest fire alarm. I didn't even hesitate. Pull, SFX, fire alarm blares. Red lights flashing. Chaos begins. People started murmuring. Some stood. Others rolled their eyes. A few looked scared. Security arrived within minutes, storming up the stairwell. One of them, Officer Delaney, I recognized from a photo in a 9/11 memorial book. He would die trying to save others. "Sir, hands on your head. Now!" I raised my arms. "You have to get these people out. I'm telling the truth. This building will be gone by 10:30. Delaney narrowed his eyes. "You're not making sense." My voice cracked. "Look up Flight 11 right now. A Boeing 767 from Boston. It's already off course, please." He hesitated. Another guard checked his radio. "Nothing. Not yet." They dragged me into a corner office and shut the door. "Stay here. We'll sort this out." I looked around. Through the window, Manhattan was waking up, golden in the morning light. Just like I remembered. Painfully normal before it was never normal again. I banged on the glass, watching people still inside, still laughing, still clueless. I realized something terrifying. Even with knowledge, I was powerless, unless I went bigger, unless I became the villain, to rewrite this tragedy. I stared at a nearby server cabinet. Fire, smoke, panic. They wouldn't listen to warnings. But maybe they'd run from flames. If no one believed your truth, would you set the fire yourself just to make them run? She was exactly where I remembered her, by the window on the east side, near the corner office, her silhouette framed by sunlight and skyscrapers. Maria. The name hit me like a wave I wasn't ready for. In 2025, she was just a memory. A bittersweet what if. But in 2001, she was still alive. Breathing, smiling, crossing one leg over the other as she typed something into an old Dell desktop. She didn't know me. Not yet. Not here. But I knew her. I approached slowly, my hands still shaking from the fire alarm incident. Security had left me under loose surveillance, confused by the lack of any real threat. The alarm stopped after 10 minutes. The building stayed still. I had maybe 20 left before everything changed. She glanced up as I neared. "Can I help you?" That voice. Same softness, same calm under pressure. I'm Jack. I used to work here long time ago." That wasn't entirely a lie. In another timeline, I did intern here. She frowned slightly. "You look pale. Are you okay?" "No," I said honestly. "But you're safe. For now." She chuckled politely. "That sounds ominous." "Maria," I whispered. Her face twitched. "Do I know you?" I stared at her, trying to remember everything. The cafe where we first kissed in another life. The red scarf she always wore in winter. The way she used to cry during documentaries but pretend it was allergies. Here, she didn't know me at all. She was just a stranger. But to me, she was the only person worth staying for. I sat down beside her. "I know this sounds crazy, but you need to leave the building. Right now." She looked concerned now. "Is this about the fire alarm?" "Security said it was a false." "It's not false. There's a plane, Flight 11. It's already in the air. It'll hit this tower at 8:46 a.m. We have 15 minutes. She blinked. "You're serious?" I nodded. "Are you military?" "No." "A psychic?" I smiled sadly. "Worse, I'm just someone who remembers." She stared into my eyes. Maybe it was the fear in my voice or the certainty. Or maybe deep down, something in her believed me. She stood up slowly. "If this is some twisted joke..." "It's not." "Then come with me," she said. "Prove it." I followed her toward the elevators, toward the stairs, toward something that felt like possibility. But deep down, I knew the story never ends that easily. Not on this day. Not in this building. If the love of your life didn't remember you, would you save them anyway? Even if they'd never know who you were? The stairwell smelled of dust and old metal. Every step echoed like a countdown. People passed us, some calm, some annoyed. A few whispered about the guy from earlier pulling the alarm. Me. Maria stayed close, glancing back often. I think she was still unsure if she should be running from me or with me. We reached floor 74 when the world split in two. 8:46 a.m. It didn't sound like an explosion. It sounded like the sky cracked open. A roar, a scream, then a deep, sickening thud that vibrated through the concrete like the building had been punched in the stomach. The stairwell trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling like ash. The lights flickered. Someone screamed. Then silence. Just for a moment. Then chaos. Doors flew open. People began flooding into the stairwell. All directions, all confusion. Some with bloody hands, some with stunned faces, all of them suddenly aware that something terrible had happened. Maria froze. "What was that?" I didn't answer. From a small landing window, I looked up and saw black smoke billowing from above. Paper fluttered down like confetti. It was happening. It was really happening. Her eyes met mine. "You knew. You weren't lying." "No," I whispered. "And it's not over." "Another one?" I nodded. "South Tower, in 17 minutes. She staggered back, grabbing the railing. "Oh my God!" I steadied her. "We have to keep moving. Now!" The stairs had become a river of bodies. Heat rose from above. A woman stumbled, crying about a friend stuck on 87. A man in a suit banged on the wall, screaming for help that wouldn't come. We helped where we could, lifting, guiding, shouting directions. Maria turned from office worker to rescuer within minutes. That was always who she was, even when she didn't know me. I could feel history trying to pull me back into its orbit, like this was meant to happen. That no matter what I tried, this story had already been written in fire. But when I looked at Maria, her soot-streaked face, her steady grip on my hand, I realized something. Even if I couldn't save everyone, maybe I could save her. And maybe that would be enough. We reached floor 50 when the building groaned, a sound like metal crying. Emergency lights kicked in. The air smelled different now, thicker, meaner. I looked up the stairwell and saw shadows moving, figures coming down fast. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't the only one who remembered. What if you weren't the only time traveler trapped in the tower? But the others had different plans. At first, I thought they were firefighters. The figures descending the stairwell were fast, too fast. No gear, no helmets, just people, sharp-eyed, scanning, moving with the calm precision of those who've seen this moment before. Maria squeezed my hand. Who are they? One of them stopped beside us, a tall black man, clean-shaven in an unbuttoned dress shirt. He looked right at me and nodded like we'd already met. You remember? He said. Not a question, a statement. I do, I replied. Another voice, female with a British accent, came from behind. We've got maybe 20 more floors before the second one hits. South Tower. Maria stared at me, then them. Wait, you all knew? The tall man, his name was Elijah, stepped closer. We call it a loop. Some of us, we wake up here over and over, different floors, different times, same date, same end. How many times? I asked. He hesitated. 16 for me, more for her. The woman gave a bitter laugh. I stopped counting after 30. My stomach sank. So we can't change it. No, Elijah said. We can change some things. A few people, a few moments, but the towers always fall. Maria looked at me, betrayed, scared, angry. And you didn't tell me? I was trying to protect you. By pulling alarms? Setting fires? Her voice cracked. I thought you were crazy, but you're worse. You're broken. I stepped toward her. Maria, I came back because I remembered you. Because you mattered. She turned away. The stairwell lights flickered again. Time was running thin. Elijah gathered us close. We have 8 floors before the next impact. That building's gonna shake like hell. People will panic. Elevators will shut down. Smoke will pour in. That's when we lose them. Every time. He looked at me. But you're new to this. You still believe it can be different. That makes you useful. Useful how? We split up, the British woman said. 3 exits. Divide the panic. Lead them out before the stairwell jams again. Maria stepped back in. And what if we die? Elijah nodded. We might, but maybe we don't. Either way, we give them a shot. There was silence, the kind that feels like a choice being made inside your chest. I looked around at the people around us. A janitor with a bleeding hand. A young intern sobbing into her phone. An older man whispering a prayer in Hebrew. Then I said it. Let's move. And just like that, we were a team of strangers in hell, holding the line for the ones who still believed in escape. We didn't know if we'd live, but we knew this. History was merciless. But we didn't have to be. Would you relive your worst day, over and over, if it meant saving just one soul each time? The stairwell pulsed with movement, bodies pressing downward, voices rising, the air thickening with fear. It was 8:59 a.m. 4 minutes. Maria had stayed beside me even after everything. She didn't say much, but her silence no longer felt like distance. It felt like choice. We reached the sky lobby at floor 44, a large, open atrium between elevator banks. This was where evacuees would bottleneck, where hope got lost in architecture. I looked up and saw the window, the one facing the South Tower. The second plane hadn't come yet. I turned to Elijah. What if I ran now? What if I made it to the other tower, warned them? He shook his head slowly. You'd never get there in time. And even if you did, no one listens until the fire starts. But Maria, I started. She cut in. I'm not leaving. I stared at her. I know where the second plane hits, floor 81. That's where your friend Leslie works. You said it this morning. She's in early today. Her eyes widened. I'm giving you a choice, I said, hands trembling. We can run. We can be out of here before 9:03, or we can try to save her. Maria didn't blink. Where is she? Elijah, take them, I said. Get everyone down. He hesitated. Jack, go. We broke off from the group. Maria and I ran up the stairwell, dodging panicked stragglers. I felt every heartbeat like a clock ticking toward the sky. Floor 60, 65, 70. The air turned hotter. The smoke began curling like fingers through vents. At 8:59 a.m., we reached floor 81. I pounded on every door, every glass panel. Leslie, Leslie, are you here? Nothing. Maria screamed her friend's name, her voice raw, and then a sound, weak. Help! I'm in here! We found her in a small office, foot pinned under a toppled desk, smoke already creeping in through the carpeted floor. I yanked the desk free. Leslie screamed. Maria pulled her up. 9:02 a.m. I looked at the window across the floor. Then I saw it. The glint of sunlight on metal. A plane. Coming low. Coming fast. Go! I shouted. We ran, down the hall, toward the far-end stairwell. The floor began to hum, the same deep vibration I remembered from every documentary, every nightmare, and then impact. The building jolted sideways. The lights went out. We were thrown against the wall. Ceiling tiles fell, fire, glass, screams. I reached for Maria, found her hand. Leslie was bleeding, dazed, but alive. We were trapped in the heart of the nightmare. But we were together. If saving someone meant walking straight into the fire, would you still do it, knowing it might cost you your only chance to escape? Time warped after the second impact. There was no longer minutes or seconds, just before and after. Just the breath you still had, and the one you weren't sure would come next. We were stuck between floors 78 and 77. The stairwell had collapsed above us, twisted metal and broken concrete sealing off any chance of climbing back up. The air reeked of jet fuel and burnt plastic. My ears rang from the blast. My ribs screamed every time I moved. Leslie was unconscious, her head in Maria's lap. We'd wrapped her leg in a torn blazer. It wasn't enough. Below us, the stairwell still held. If we could make it down another 10 floors, there might be a chance. But that meant going back into the main corridor, into the fire. I'm not leaving her, Maria whispered. Her voice was hoarse, her eyes red from smoke but steady. I wanted to argue, wanted to scream, but I didn't, because I remembered. I had already lost her once. In 2025, I'd stood by her photo at a memorial wall. I'd whispered her name into cold stone, but not this time. I stood up. We'll carry her. We fashioned a crude sling using computer cables and 2 broken chair arms. As we lifted Leslie, every second felt like borrowed time. The building creaked beneath us, deep, groaning sounds that didn't belong to anything alive. 9:53 a.m. We reached floor 69 when we heard it. A rumble, far away, but coming closer, like thunder underground. I looked at Maria. It's starting? The collapse? I nodded. North Tower. It's going first. She looked out a cracked window as we paused. Across the skyline, the North Tower trembled. Then, impossibly, began to fall. It wasn't like an explosion. It was like watching a mountain forget how to stand. The top caved in, floor after floor cascading downward in a monstrous roar. We watched in horror and awe. I felt the world shift. The South Tower, our tower, moaned like it knew its time was next. Panic surged. I turned to Maria. We run, now, or we don't run at all. We flew down the stairwell, feet barely touching steps, carrying Leslie, dodging debris. At floor 50, the air grew clearer. At 40, we met others, survivors, bloodied, wide-eyed. Elijah, he was alive, helping 2 women down the steps. He saw us, eyes widening in shock and relief. You made it, he said. For now, I panted. Is the lobby still? He nodded. Barely, but it's open. We moved as one, a caravan of the stubborn, the lucky, the unwilling to die. 9:58 a.m., 1 minute left. At floor 10, the building began to shake. At 5, the stairwell lights flickered, and then silence. We burst into the lobby like soldiers returning from the end of the world. And the end followed us. If you outran death by 1 minute, what would you do with the rest of your life? The world outside the South Tower was a kind of hell I never imagined surviving. Flames in the sky, screams on the ground, paper raining down like lost thoughts, ash in every breath. The building behind us, our building, stood for only moments longer. And then, at 9:59 a.m., it fell. Not in silence, not in glory, but like a body giving up. The South Tower collapsed into itself. 30 seconds of roaring, apocalyptic thunder. Dust clouds chased us like tidal waves. Maria and I held Leslie between us and ran, blind, breathless, stumbling through the chaos. I don't remember how far we got before the world turned gray, before light disappeared and sound became memory. I remember Maria's grip on my hand. I remember letting go. I woke up on a bench, somewhere far, somewhere quiet. Brooklyn, maybe, or a version of it that had never heard of September 11th. It was 2025 again. I could feel it in the sky, in the distant hum of electric cars. But something was wrong. I checked my phone. There were news articles about the attack, photos, timelines, memorials, but my name was never mentioned. There were no interviews, no eyewitnesses, no mystery man in the stairwell. I searched for Maria Sullivan and found her, alive, married, with a daughter named Jackie. My eyes blurred. I read every line of her story: survivor, nonprofit leader, advocate for trauma victims. There was even a quote she gave in a speech. Sometimes the people who save us don't stay in our lives, but their impact echoes forever. We carry their names in the silence between our heartbeats. I smiled. She didn't remember me. Not exactly, but somehow, a part of me stayed with her. And Leslie? She wrote a book, The Fire That Left a Spark. In it, she described a voice in the smoke, a hand on her arm, a man she never saw clearly. In every timeline, I was a ghost. But maybe a good one. Sometimes history doesn't need heroes in the spotlight. It needs the ones who whisper, who vanish, who act. Not for recognition, but for redemption. I wasn't sent back to rewrite the world. I was sent back to save her. And maybe that was enough. If you disappeared from history, but saved the people who mattered most. Would that be enough for you?